All right, let's jump right in. We've got a new briefing on our desk, and it's a big one. It details a huge shift in America's AI infrastructure, a massive project they're calling the Stargate Initiative. So this briefing, which just came out today, January 20th, 2026, is really all about two things: the incredibly fast, large-scale build-out of AI infrastructure across the country, and a completely new way these huge projects are trying to work with the communities they're moving into.
And the headline number here is just, wow, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. The goal is to get to 10 gigawatts of new AI capacity up and running by 2029. To give you some perspective, that's like the power output of several huge nuclear power plants, all of it dedicated to fueling the next wave of AI.
But what's really wild is the speed they're moving at. I mean, this whole thing was just announced a year ago, back in January 2025, and they're already way past the halfway mark in terms of planned capacity. We're already seeing sites either active or being built in Texas, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
Now you can't build something that big, that fast, without having a major impact on the local communities, right? So to get ahead of that, the whole initiative is being built around what they're calling a new partnership model, a direct commitment to these communities.
And the heart of this whole thing is something called the Stargate Community Plan. Look, this isn't some cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all deal. The idea is that each AI campus gets its own custom plan, built from the ground up with input from local leaders and the people who actually live there. The goal, they say, is to be a good neighbor right from the start.
And that good neighbor promise really boils down to three key things, the three pillars that address the biggest worries any town would have about a project this huge. We're talking power, water, and jobs.
So let's start with power. Their commitment here is spelled out very clearly in this direct quote from the plan. It says, "We commit to paying our own way on energy so that our operations don't increase your electricity prices." Basically, they're promising their massive operations won't jack up your power bill. Okay, so how do they actually pull that off? Well, their strategy has three main parts. First, they actually fund the new power generation they need. Second, they work hand-in-hand with local utility companies from the get-go. And third, and this is pretty cool, they build their campuses to be flexible loads. That just means they can power down their own consumption when local demand is high, which helps keep the grid stable for everybody.
All right, so that's the plan on paper. But what does it actually look like on the ground? Let's take a look at how this is being rolled out in states with totally different energy situations.
And as you can see, the solution is different everywhere you go. In Wisconsin, they're building new solar and battery storage, and it's funded in a way that protects other customers from rate hikes. Over in Michigan, it's a mix of using what's already there and adding new battery storage that the project itself pays for. And then you have Texas, where they're basically building brand new dedicated power plants and storage just for these sites.
Okay, so power is a huge piece of the puzzle. But the other massive resource drain for any data center is, you guessed it, water. You need a ton of it for cooling.
And this is where a quote from Weldon Hurt, the mayor of Abilene, Texas, which is a major site for this project, really puts things in perspective. He said, "The water use at the Abilene site in a year will be half as much as Abilene uses in a single day." That's pretty staggering, and it points to a critical detail. These new facilities are being designed from day one with super efficient, low water, or even closed-loop cooling systems.
And the community plan isn't just about using less, it's also about investing back. We're talking direct funding for local infrastructure, like a whopping $175 million for water system upgrades in Wisconsin. Then there's the jobs pillar. They're setting up what they're calling open AI academies to train the local workforce for these high-tech jobs. And the very first one is launching this spring in Abilene.
So when you take a step back and look at all this, it makes you wonder, is this just a really smart PR move, or are we looking at a new blueprint for how all massive tech projects are going to have to work from now on?
The hope, it seems, is to completely flip the script. You know, instead of these tech giants just rolling into town and straining local resources, this model tries to create a genuine partnership, one where the project is actually a net positive for the community.
And that really leaves us with a final, crucial question for the future. As AI's physical footprint just keeps getting bigger and bigger, is this kind of community-first approach going to become the new standard? Is this level of corporate citizenship going to be the new, non-negotiable price of admission for anyone wanting to build the future